talking about community standards and policies. Who's excited? So I will tell you that through this session, Bitmoji Abby and Bitmoji Shugs will be, they've been getting into some hijinks. And they've been breaking some policies. So when we get to that part, you will see us breaking some policies. You'll see the Bitmojis of us breaking some policies.
Bitmoji's bad.
And then you will be able to guess what policies we are breaking. Bitmoji us are breaking. First, I have for everyone, this is called the Policy Quick Reference. And it has a lot of information. All of the first year students will be getting one of these, and then in upper class rooms, there'll be one per room. You maybe have already gotten these. Yes? Cool. Well, I have one for each of you.
Yeah.
Yay! So this is a good thing. There's a little pocket in the back of your CF Quick Guide, and so you can stick it in that little pocket and have it forever.
Yeah, it's recording.
Also,
Oh yeah.
a reminder about our question box. This is going to be an opportune session for you to use the question box. Just let you know now. So I will put a couple of note cards at the end of each row, and then just kind of like hit your neighbor if you need a note card of it. Nice.
That's good.
How about now?
There's so little bit of this.
Yes, they are intended for legitimate questions.
Yes, legitimate questions only.
Wow, Ted. Stop it.
Alright, who's ready to get started? Woo-hoo! Alright, so let's first start with the big question. Why are community standards and policies important? Hold on. David, did you hit the record button?
Yes, I did.
Perfect, thanks. SJ, did I see your hand?
Yeah,
Awesome.
they're important because they keep us in line so that even though we're away from home, we still have rules that give to ourselves and each other safe and to be respectful towards the institution.
Keep ourselves and each other safe, be respectful toward the institution. Emma, did you have something?
Ensure student safety, that's what I was about.
Sure, student safety, absolutely. Sarah, did you raise your hand?
I would just say fun and safe.
Fun and safe? Other reasons you feel like we have community standards and policies? Kyra,
Rules govern the civil society.
can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Rules govern a civilized society.
Yeah, rules govern a civilized society. Absolutely. Yeah, for Res Life, the big thing, you all have hit on it, we want to keep our residents safe, and we want to make sure that our environment is safe for all residents, right? So even though there might be one person who's like breaking a policy and they're like, no, it's fine, I was safe, perhaps they weren't being safe for their neighbor, for another resident. So that is the big reason we have community standards and policies. Now, are you ready for Bitmojis, Shugs, and Abby to get into some hijinks? Yeah. Alright, so we'll put one up on the screen, shout out what you think it is, and we'll go from there. Sound good?
Drinking.
Hard drugs.
Underage drinking. Underage alcohol consumption. Absolutely.
That's so funny.
So, who can tell me what the underage alcohol consumption policy is?
It's not allowed.
Yeah, don't do it! Don't drink! Alright, so all students must be 21 or older to possess or consume alcohol. No alcohol in underage rooms, even if the person drinking alcohol is 21. So if Abby and I are both 19 and Henry is 21 and he comes in, he still can't drink in our room because the room owners are under 21. Does that make sense? Cool. And if it's a mixed aged room, so maybe someone's 22, someone's 20, alcohol can be consumed by people who are 21 plus, but the 21 plus residents have to be there. Got it?
Yeah.
You sometimes might hear campus safety say this is a dry room. That's because they're all under the age of 21. If it's a wet room, that's because somebody or both are over the age of 21.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Abby does not look happy.
Public
Oh.
drunkenness.
Ding, ding, ding! Or alcohol intoxication. Tell us the alcohol intoxication policy. Anyone? Jocelyn.
I don't know exactly what you're going for, but something really important to remember and stress is that even if you are over 21, you can still get written up by campus safety for public intoxication.
That is exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yes.
I did it. Okay, good. So all students, I choose the smart techie ones. All students, no matter the age, can be found in violation of alcohol intoxication, especially since we're going to get to that slide later. So, signs of alcohol intoxication: vomiting, unconsciousness would probably be a big hint. If they're hospital or detox or loss of bodily function. Has anyone ever encountered a situation where you think somebody was publicly intoxicated? Is it pretty obvious?
One important thing to note is that it doesn't only have to be in public. It could be someone who is in their room and still showing these signs. And that is a safety concern and a dangerous behavior. And that is the time we always want to call for help. How about this one?
One of our favorites.
Medical amnesty.
Medical amnesty, yes. Who can tell me the medical amnesty policy? Jay.
Is it, so they have to ask you for it, and then if they ask you for medical amnesty, then you get to call like campus safety, and they'll help them. There won't be like any major punishments.
More or less. Yeah, that's Jay.
Isn't it so that it makes friends around someone who's showing signs of intoxication more willing to call, because a lot of kids get scared that they're going to get in trouble too?
Absolutely. So what medical amnesty is, students need to contact either campus safety or Res Life staff member, and they have to say either like medical amnesty or that thing that doesn't get me in trouble, or I'm calling for help for a friend but I don't want them to get in trouble. Something along those lines. The request can't be made after a campus official, so either you or one of us or campus safety already intervenes. So you'll likely have situations where you are already, maybe you have come across someone who is vomiting in the bathroom, and like 2 minutes in, their friend is like, oh no, we want medical amnesty. That doesn't count. They need to be the ones to request it. Here's what I'm going to say about medical amnesty. If someone asks for it, all you do is document that in the report, and your area coordinators will figure out if it is medical amnesty or not. All right? So they'll ask you, is this going to be medical amnesty? Is this going to be medical amnesty? All you have to say is, my job is to document it. I will write down that you have asked for medical amnesty, and it will go in the report.
Which is why it's super important that you document it if they ask for it.
Yes.
Alright.
I'm sorry. I was trying to turn
Cool. Ready for the next Bitmoji badges?
Yeah.
Okay. Shugs and Abby really like to do something.
And have alcohol visible in public.
Open
Okay,
container
alcohol
public.
location. Can you tell me the alcohol location policy? So if you're of age and you're bringing alcohol into your residence hall room, it must be concealed in an opaque container. Any other part to it? Abby?
No alcohol in common areas, it has to stay to your residential living space.
Yeah. How about I'm hanging out grilling, not actually grilling, outside in front of a building?
Absolutely not.
Big no,
But what if I'm using a koozie?
She probably would be. All right, so
Also no. The answer to that is also no.
So alcohol can only be consumed in closed residential spaces where people are of age and the room is an of age room. It's not allowed outside, in lounges, community rooms, etc. Yes, Maddie.
Just wanted to add, something really common that you'll see is like seniors drinking beers, especially in the springtime, playing campus golf. Like I've seen it like 3 or 4 times, and like every time I've had to be like, oh my god. Oh. So anyway, they're not allowed to do that.
That would be a great time to call campus safety. Alcohol, like Holly said, alcohol has to be transported in opaque containers. I always get confused. Opaque means you can't see what's inside the bag. Like me. All students, no matter the age, could be found in violation of this policy, even if you are over 21. Okay, cool.
What about this one?
Sorry.
Yeah, guest visitation. Who can tell me what our guest and visitation policy is? SJ.
If they're found in violation of any of those other things we talked about, we have to call like the actual St. Peter Police Department instead.
Kind of, it depends.
Oh,
How about what the actual policy is?
Your first year resident calls, their specific visitation hours, it's 1 AM on weekdays and 2 AM on weekends, and in upperclassmen dorms, there's 24-hour visitation. The people who
On weekends. Yep. Alright, so here is the guest and visitation. Sunday through Thursday, all buildings, 9 AM to 1 AM. Friday and Saturday, first year buildings, 9 AM to 2, and upper class is 24 hours. So those are visitation hours. Those have to do with Gustavus students. We also have a guest policy, and guests are people who are here who are not Gustavus students. So that would include like, I don't know, my friend from home who's coming to visit me, or my cousin who is hanging out for the weekend. Visitation hours apply to those folks as well, but they are guests, so they can only be on campus or staying with a person for up to 48 hours at a time. That is the situation where if they are involved in another policy violation, campus safety will be the ones to call police, because they are not a Gustavus student. But campus safety will always make that determination. You don't have to worry about that.
One of the things you might come across is when 2 roommates, one might have a guest and the other one might not want that guest. Priority goes to the people whose home it is. So those 2 roommates will need to agree, even if they agree on rules that are harsher than our visitation policy. Obviously, you can't break those.
Yeah, Tara.
If the person's staying in their car, does the pass, does it last for 48 hours? Do they give them a party
They
pass?
do set an expiration date on the pass.
Yeah. All right, ready for the next hijinks?
Homemade furniture.
This one, all the credit goes to Shug, because she fully made this. What is our loft?
Building your own loft.
What
Not
about
allowed
you?
Wow.
You cannot build your own loft. How can someone loft a bed?
Rent it alone.
Okay. It also goes for like any sort of furniture. I was getting that. Like if for whatever reason somebody wanted to build their own people, like extra wood and stuff like that is a fire hazard. We don't want to bring that into the hall. No homemade lofts, platforms, etc. Beds, lofts must be reserved through bedloft.com. College furniture. This is a big one. College furniture needs to stay in the room. So even if somebody brought their own couch and it's way cooler, and there's a couch in the room already, it's got to stay there. And lounge furniture has to stay outside of the room, in the lounge. Yes, ma'am.
Also there is a way, especially a lot of first years choose to loft, there is a way if they decide halfway through the year, like we can't store their loft for them and either have to stay in the room, or there is a way where they can contact bedloft.com and get it picked up, but we can't like store it for them just because they decided halfway through they didn't want it.
Yes, loft should never go in storage, period. Maya.
So like, is this just related to like bed, like I guess other furniture too, but like, so like a wooden desk shelf that you put on top of your desk? Like, is that okay?
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, so like someone brings that in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, that is okay.
okay.
The reason we don't allow people to build bed lofts is because they're sleeping in that and there's body weight on that and they can break.
Okay.
Many moons ago, Gustavus allowed people to build their own bed lofts, And then they would get passed down year after year after year after year. And there'd be like this thing built with 2x4s that was on like its 20th year that maybe should have been tossed about 13 years prior. So.
Another thing with furniture and lofting is if they have the wooden bed-ins, a lot of times, especially in first-year halls, parents are gonna try to like leave them in the hallway or take them home with them and bring them back at the end of the year. So just keeping an eye out for that and letting them know that they need to keep the bed-ins in their room for the entire year.
Any other questions on that one?
Drugs or marijuana?
What is it?
Marijuana.
Marijuana, another drug. It's a hard no. We don't allow any marijuana or other drugs on our campus. If students have them, all you have to do is call campus safety. Do not touch them. Do not smell them to see if they actually are drugs. If you are suspicious that something is a drug, you call campus safety. That's it. Easiest one.
DJ Abby.
Quiet hours.
Courtesy hour.
Courtesy hours.
Noise violations.
Yes. What are they?
10 a.m. weekdays, midnight on weekends, or courtesy hours.
Okay, so we have this thing called quiet hours, Sunday through Thursday, 10 p.m. to 8 a.m., Friday and Saturday, midnight to 8 a.m. However, during all times, it's courtesy hours. So we are building a community. We want people to be respectful for one another. So if there is something disrupting neighbors and it's not during quiet hours, it is still okay to approach. Oftentimes you might hear your AC talk about, like, if you hear something 2 doors down, it's probably too loud. Encouraging your residents to also feel empowered to have a conversation with their neighbor if their neighbor is being too loud is a great thing to do during community meetings and at the start of the year. It makes your life easier. Any questions? Cool.
Window screens. So it is important. This was as best as what we could get for the window. It is important. Your residents need to keep their screens in their windows and cannot modify their screens in any way. So for example, in College View, the screens don't actually come out, they can slide back and forth. They cannot move that screen to slide back and forth. Every other building, the screens would like actually pop out of the windows. The residents need to keep their screens in their windows. So that means they can't put in air conditioners, they can't remove the screens to throw something down to their friends, to jump out of the building themselves. Screens need to stay in at all times. If there's an issue with the screen, they can put in a maintenance request. Questions? Great.
None.
Oh, sorry.
What happens if you figure out your resident has an air conditioner? Do they have to like file or say like, I have allergies, that's why I have that, or like something?
So we have a list of people who have approved air conditioner units. They look very much the same. They are window units. Your AC will also have that list and be able to provide it for you. If you see an AC that is not on that list, you should write it up as an accident report and your AC will be following up because that is a policy violation. And like, just so you know, it's pretty easy to tell in complex if there are too many people with unapproved AC units, circuit breakers flip. And then you lose power for a little bit. Cool. Oh!
Hall sports.
Hall sports. What is the policy about hall sports? Don't follow Abby's suit last night. Not allowed in common areas or in student rooms. So you will get people golfing down the hallways. You will get people wanting to play soccer in the hall. Where's Maddie?
Hockey. It was hockey.
I'm sorry. So part of the reason is we have these sprinklers overhead, and if they get hit, they will go off and water will come down and damage things, which is not fun. Also, we don't want people to get hit. That would be a good goal. I suck at badminton, but my Bitmoji's good at it.
Candles. What is our candle policy? One person. I just want one person. Abby.
Okay, so you can't have them, but if the wick is removed, then it's okay, because at that point it's a wax figurine.
Yes, exactly.
Also, you can't even have it in your room. If it's like in the room, even if it's not lit. That's
Yep.
Like if it's in the room and unburnt and they say I've never ever used it, they still cannot have it.
Correct. So no candles, even if they're not burned. If the wick is white because they haven't even gotten the flame within 30 feet of it, still can't have it. If it's a wax figurine or a jar with just wax and it doesn't have any type of wick or ability to set it aflame, then it is okay. Maddie.
What about wax melters?
Great.
Smell nice. Awesome.
If they're the light bulb kind.
Yeah.
Yes.
disposing of these candles after you have like taken them. What's the
Bring them to your area coordinator.
They can get them.
Yeah, they get them back.
Yep, we allow residents, like if they're going home for a break and they want to bring it back, we allow them to pick them up to take them back for a break.
Find a way to label them. That will help your AC. Like piece of tape, room number. Awesome.
Fire.
Deeper than fire. Keep going.
Fire.
Keep going.
Using fire extinguisher.
Arson.
Fire equipment.
Arson.
Also, don't do arson. So, fire equipment is not to be tampered with, taken, or used, obviously, unless there is a real fire. This includes fire extinguishers, alarms, sprinklers, those pull stations that set off the alarms because then everybody else is affected. They are there for safety, and we want to make sure they are able to be used and in working order for if/when you need them.
Toaster oven.
Think bigger,
Open boil.
but a little bit smaller.
Pizza oven.
Appliances! Yeah, appliances!
Thanks.
Alright, so as some people said, no open heating coils. We actually do allow toasters, however. So toasters, coffee pots, microwaves, refrigerators up to 6 cubic feet, and Keurigs, things in that nature are okay. You cannot have any open heating element. So like the pizza pizzazz, that's that thing that you like set a pizza on and it spins around and heats it up. Nope. You can't have hot plates. So that's why, like, if you have a wax warmer, it needs to be the light bulb kind. It can't be the kind that's just like an electric coaster that you set the wax on, because that is essentially a hot plate. Yeah.
Is there a size limit if you want to have a rice cooker?
I don't think there's a size limit, but you can have a rice cooker.
Okay, a lot of people have it.
That's
okay.
I don't know why she's laughing. I like my rice.
You do you.
I like Nikki.
I have a question. How about like electric grills or electric griddles?
No, because that is an open heating element.
All right.
That's like a hot plate.
Yeah, we get.
We have them that we use for in-hall events, and that is a sanctioned event, and that is okay.
Okay.
Sarah?
This also applies to people in like apartments and the townhomes?
Correct. Correct. Yeah, like you can't have like a hot plate in the townhome still, or in the apartments.
What about like a George Foreman?
Yes, they can have a George Foreman.
I think that's, I don't know, if you like to research that, what you're asking.
Other questions? Toaster ovens are still a no,
But toasters.
but a toaster is okay.
One of my friends' kids.
Toasters are okay, like,
Yeah, a toaster and a toaster are two different
Toaster
things.
oven is the thing where you like.
You can open it like bake.
Alright,
More closed than
alright, moving forward.
Are there any follow-up questions? Great for the question bucket.
Oh, and tester key
Animal policies.
I tried to, what is the pet policy? An animal
You
policy?
cannot have an animal unless it is a pre-approved emotional support animal.
Maya, will you repeat that all louder? and
Yes, you cannot have an animal unless it is a pre-approved emotional support animal, and if you do, it has to remain in your room. It cannot go in other.
27 billion gold stars for that one.
Can't you have a fish if the tank is less than
Yes.
3 gallons?
So, fish tanks up to 15 gallons, but pets must be fully aquatic and live underwater 24/7. They can't come up for air, aka like a turtle or a lizard. No other pets, even if they are just visiting. So mom and dad came for the day, and even though Abby really wants to come and love on them, she cannot in her. I meant me, Abby, sorry. So parents can't just bring it in for the day to come say, hey. Yes, sir.
To your residence premise or onto campus?
Onto your residence hall. Campus has a pet policy that they can follow. Has to be on a leash, well controlled, stuff like that. And you cannot go in the yard. Okay. Any other questions? Obviously, like, you know, I have a dog, and says I live in professional, a little bit of a different role. Lady Ray has a cat. Same story. Cool? Any other questions? Your AC will inform you and have information about any ESAs that are on your floor or area. So if you are coming across an animal that is not on that list, you should document and follow up with your AC. Cool. Thank you.
Major key.
Lost
No
keys.
sharing keys.
Keys and lockouts. What are some of our key policies?
Don't share the keys.
Don't share your key or give it to someone.
They can't duplicate it.
Don't duplicate your key.
It's a big
Yes.
Don't lose your
Don't lose it. If I lose my key, how much does it cost to replace? $75. What if I wait till the very end of the year?
$100.
$100.
You
Awesome.
can give me it.
Alright, so as we've said, report lost keys to Res Life immediately. It's $75 for residents to replace. That's per key. Keys can only be distributed through Res Life, so if I wanted to trade rooms with Tyra, we couldn't just be like, oh, we'll trade rooms and take each other's keys. That all needs to happen through Res Life. Doors cannot be opened for non-room residents, so you will likely get called or get asked to help with some lockouts. You can't just open the door for someone's friend just because you know that they're their friend. You need to make sure to have explicit permission from the resident of the room. So if I have forgotten my backpack in Abby's room and Abby calls Holly to say, hey, my friend Shugs left her backpack in my room, I am gone for the weekend, could you please help her by opening it? She has explicit permission from Holly. Holly's gonna say, yep, can you shoot that in an email to me because we want it documented. A phone call is great, or a text message can work, but we need some type of documentation, then Holly can help me out. I can't just go to Holly and say, Holly, I left my backpack in Abby's room, let me in, because that's not my room.
How can you confirm that it is the resident of the room if you do not know them personally?
THD Mobile
Has their picture on it too.
Nate, did you have something you want to add? No? Any questions?
I see. No?
Where does it have the
If you scroll down, it's bottom. Okay, ready?
Thinking in other people's rooms.
Think bigger.
Drinking in an party.
So yes, drinking in another room. Overall, room responsibility. You are responsible for what goes on in your room. So drinking is one of the things, and we talked about over 21, under 21. Even if someone is in your room drinking and you are not, you could be found responsible for a room responsibility violation. It can go past that if there's something else illicit going on in your room, whether it be drugs or there's a pet or something else, you are responsible for what goes on in your room, which is why we really like roommates to talk to each other. Any questions?
Oh, switching roommates improperly or improper.
Not this one.
Soliciting?
Solicitation,
Nice
yes.
job,
Yeah, it's like a scene. Like I'm knocking, telling her to buy it. She's not happening. We tried.
I love the buy-in phase, yeah.
Buy
That's it.
Buy it. Vote for it. All right. What is our solicitation policy?
Yeah, doesn't it have to be approved? Like the political people had to be pre-approved.
Alright, I'm hearing lots of mumblings from lots of different people. One person, can you tell me what solicitation policy is? Yes, Maddie?
They have to be pre-approved by Residential Life and accompanied by the student.
That is only for political candidates.
But yes, that is correct.
But yes, no solicitation in the halls otherwise. Political candidates can go door to door, but they have to be approved by Residence Life and with a Gustavus student or a Gustavus person who is sponsoring them to go through the room. Or not the rooms, the halls. Yes.
So like that girl that was going door to door for Girl Scout cookies, was that not allowed?
That was not allowed.
We did not know about that.
What is that?
Abby, I told you.
She made triangle cakes.
Yeah, so that should be.
Alright, under the bus, right there.
Oh, so someone knew about it.
What about somebody who's a poster to offer to clean other people's clothes or like do their laundry?
So any posters have to be approved by Res Life, the Res Life would not be approved. You can't actually run a business out of your residence.
Yep. So you can't run a business out of your res hall room either. So if I I don't know, had a barber shop out of my room or out of the community bathroom, that is not allowed.
They're running.
To be clear,
Everyone please listen.
Gustavus students who are campaigning, say for like hall council and or student senate and or are hosting an event and are trying to get people to come, are allowed to go door knocking.
Yes.
That's a good question.
Yes.
Are you allowed to say like knit scarves and hats and be like, hey friends, if you want to buy one, you can buy one? Is that considered
If you
running a
are
business?
just like doing a little something for your friends,
Okay,
that's fine.
alright, cool.
That's fine. It's not, it's that you can't be like advertising of like business that you are running. If I have an Etsy store
Gotcha.
and I am making onesies for small children, I actually do. And I do that out of my room, that is where I am making my craft, that's fine. If I am painting a commissioned piece, that's okay. It's that you can't be like running the actual business out of your room.
Cool? Think about it, not as my room, but another place in the hall.
Don't leave stuff in the
Wait, I heard
hallway.
it. No, I heard somebody else say it.
Don't leave stuff in the hallway.
Okay, yes, that is a policy, but not the one we're looking for right now.
Where do we keep the
Ding, ding,
boxes?
ding! I heard it over here. Storage! So, we do have storage in the residence halls. It is for students who live more than 350 miles away. There is limited space and it is not guaranteed. You cannot store bikes, furniture, refrigerators, etc. with an exception in International Center for students who are international students, and that we'll explain more at the end of the year. Things like microwaves, bed lofts, any type of furniture should not be stored in any other hall storage. We will have specific storage in and storage out days that your ACs will figure out and tell you when it is. Those are days when everybody has to have their storage out, and then there's a little bit of a window, and then there's a day when people can start putting storage back in. So definitely a good thing to ask your AC where storage is in your building. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Campus safety.
So,
Don't bring your tank.
firearms and weapons are not allowed in resident rooms at all. So not in the hallways, not in the rooms, nowhere in our residence halls. People can store weapons at campus safety. So let's say I'm part of a trap shooting team. I can work with campus safety to store my trap shooting gun there. And technically, weapons can be stored in the trunks of people's cars. But they are not allowed in the halls at all. If you see a weapon, call campus safety. Yes? So if I have a chef's knife and it is intended to be used as a chef's knife, that is okay. Yeah.
What if someone like has like, I don't know, a pretend sword or like a lightsaber thing?
Plastic lightsaber,
Okay.
that's
If
okay.
they start like bludgeoning someone with it, is it now a weapon?
Yes. You would call campus safety. Or 911. A pocket knife, if it's a small like utility, that's okay. Yep. If it is a specialty knife and it is being used for its intended purpose, that's not like its intended purpose is to stab someone, then that is okay. But if it's like a small utility knife, a chef's knife, I don't really know what other types of knives there are that could be used for an intended purpose. A butter knife, like that is okay as long as they're being stored and used for their intended purpose. Tyra.
What if a resident brings a ballot or something to fix their gun? Could that be classified as a weapon?
Nope, that's a tool.
We also have ballots. All right, moving on.
Smoking and tobacco.
What is our smoking and tobacco policy?
We're tobacco, and it's not limited to cigarettes, but cigars, pipes, water pipes, hookah, beaties.
Alright, I'm gonna be.
Essential oil
Oh, it was up there! I'm sorry, I didn't know, I thought you were just really good. Alright. I was really impressed! So, we are tobacco-free campus. It is not limited to all the stuff that's listed on there. You will probably come across a vape pen. We don't have, vape pens cannot be, you can't smoke with a vape pen on campus. Yeah. I saw a question, Maddie. Maddie, what's your question?
My question is, what about essential oil vapes? Because those are a thing. Have you not seen them? Lindsay said they're not allowed. It was a.
Yeah, I think that.
So people like can have cigarettes, they can have a cigar, they cannot use them on campus. So if a resident like, aside from hookahs, they cannot have a hookah on campus. But if a resident just like has it, they can't use it. Does that make sense?
Yes, SK.
So I want to ask that, so if you're doing rounds and like one of them says they're wide open and you see it not being used, but kind of feel that it's assumed that it's been used, it's just not being used.
What is it?
Whatever,
Like a vape pen? If it's lying on a desk and it's not, there's not like a smell and you don't think it's being used, that is allowed.
So you're only allowed to report if you see them.
If you smell marijuana and you can narrow it down to a room, they could potentially be vaping THC oil, you should call campus safety.
Or if you like smell someone vaping in the hall, then yes.
Sam.
So do you confiscate that, or how is it work getting that?
Campus safety will make the decision. And campus safety is gonna bring some materials when we do put it into practice, and we'll explain some different things. Yes, ma'am.
So this might sound weird, but like, okay, you know, like all of these like weeds and stuff, like all these like drugs. So what if I'm not able to differentiate like what's going on, like which is which, or like, and I'm like, oh, probably I think it's just powder.
So if you have a question that you think could potentially be marijuana, you should call campus safety. On our campus, we don't differentiate between CBD and THC because we don't have that ability. so neither are allowed.
So, what if it just smells like incense?
There's a very distinct difference between the smell of marijuana and incense, and if you think it might be marijuana, you can call campus safety.
The good news is you also can't burn incense on campus.
Oh, yeah.
So,
That's another good point.
So, and if there is ever a point, we'll talk about this in the next session with how to confront, but if there's ever a point where you're like, ooh, is this not? You can call another CF to come help you, you can call campus safety, you can call the AC or the Res Life Pro staff on call, and we will come and help you make that determination.
What if it's a situation where if your section just smells like weed, but you can't narrow it down to one where you call it?
So with the marijuana policy, going back, we say try to narrow it down to at least a small section of rooms, right? So if you're it's one of these 3 rooms or it's somewhere in this corner, then you would call campus safety. If you're just in a stairwell and you're like, this stairwell smells like marijuana, there is no one around, you don't call campus safety. Cheers.
What if you can't tell the difference between marijuana and BO smell?
There's a
That's okay, some people have a hard time differentiating. Then you can call someone else and say, hey, do you smell what I'm smelling?
Okay.
Yep. All right, SJ. Everyone listen, please.
If it's a case where someone has a medical reason, do we tell them to be off campus when they use it?
If there is a student who is using marijuana for a medical reason, then that would be cleared by we would know about it. Yep. David.
I was just gonna say, also, medical is only in pills. You're not allowed to smoke it in Minnesota.
Yep,
So.
but we would still know about that
Yeah.
because it would be a special accommodation on our campus.
All right. If you have more questions, question bucket.
Yeah.
So we've gone through the vast majority of our policies, the ones that we probably see most often. Returners, would you say those are probably the ones we see most often?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any that we missed that you're like, I saw this all the time, how did you not include this? Maddie.
Wine bottles as decorations.
Yep, that falls into our alcohol policy, so even if it is an empty wine bottle in an underage room, that is still a wine bottle and not allowed.
Beer cases as wallpaper also count.
What about shot glass? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
What about shot glasses?
If the shot glass is used, so it has residue in it, then that is not allowed. If it is just a shot glass and it's clean and doesn't have any stickiness or smell like alcohol, then those are fine. Hold on just a second.
So,
Okay.
So with the residue with shot glasses, I know I personally with piercings, they encourage you to use smaller shot glasses. So if it's got residue from that, are we
Yep, if it needs to have alcohol residue.
Okay.
You can tell if there's been I don't know, fireball in a shot glass, right? It's gonna be sticky, it's gonna smell like cinnamon, it's gonna you'll be able to tell if it's been used for alcohol.
so what are inappropriate posters? If you just go around and you presume this is inappropriate, or you feel you have not seen it, it's not being approved, do you just take it down instantly because we had incidents like that last time?
Yeah, so if there are posters, our posting policy is one we didn't have up here. So any poster hung up in Res Life or in the halls will be approved by Res Life. The only time that it'll have a stamp on it, the only time sometimes that doesn't happen is if it's I don't know, a poster for an event you're putting up, right? Because Res Life has created that and we still put that, it will go up. If it's something that's not approved, you would take a picture of it, send that picture to your area coordinator, and then they'll tell you what to do.
So we shouldn't take it down right away. We should take a picture of it and wait for you to decide what to do, even if it doesn't have a stamp.
If it is I have a major concern about this, this has a concerning message, cover it up. But then wait, because we might need to come and get campus safety to come take a picture of it or something, there might need to be more documentation. If it's something like, oh, Jessie is advertising for her, she's gonna do your laundry, that's not allowed, you can just take that down.
And if you are unsure, reach out to AC On Call or your own AC, or Res Life, sorry.
Alright, so what would you do, you're gonna talk to your neighbor, if you disagree with a policy? Maybe there are some of these policies that you're like, great that we have that, I don't like that, I disagree with it. So talk with your neighbor about like, how might you talk with a resident or confront a policy if it's one that you disagree with?